kind of share what we know about those, but they are signs that say, I'm here, I am willing to help. Feathers are really a very common one. And they can be different colors, but what I found is that white feathers that show up like as you're walking, or I'll just say in my experience of when I was dealing with an issue and I just didn't know what decision to make. I have found in my house, like it wasn't there before, but I was,
Mhm.
walking down the hallway and there was this white feather. He was about that big, right in the hallway. As I was kind of toiling in my head what to do about the situation. And this white feather showed up. Now I know it
How did it
for
get
some
there?
people, it shows up outside more often. I They show up in my house, and it's like, okay, stop. Say, all right, you're the angels that you're here to help me. Okay, let me ask my question. And so or sometimes it was like, oh, is this the right way to go? And that'll show up, and it's like, yes, that's the right way to go. So that's just oddly a more common than not sign, and maybe it's just easier to put that sign out there than others. But that's just a very interesting and amazing angel sign that they're here helping us. I'll say another one is that a lot of people do see, and is clouds in the sky that they do look like an angel. And I have a friend that when her father had passed, she just was, definitely was feeling down about that, and just wanted to have some uplifting support that, that her dad had passed and crossed over, and that things were going to be okay. And whenever she was in that kind of state of just in concern of what was going on, truly almost always a cloud that looked like an angel showed up.
That is
Either
amazing.
that or in the path where she was walking, because she walked a lot, a heart-shaped rock. And, so that's just another symbol it's truly right when you need it, you're given a sign that you are being supported and that things are gonna be okay, and that you are being, directed on a pathway that helps you be at peace with what's going on.
What about the numbers? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh gosh, yes. That's probably the biggest. That's the one that I use all the time.
Mhm, me too.
So I offer, as part of my Form to Soar business, and it's a Facebook group right now that I do this on. But I offer messages from the angels because I've practiced so much and learned so much of how to work with the angels that I can receive and talk to them kind of pretty regularly and openly and actively. And so, one way that's easiest for most people is to be able to see numbers. And so that is an easy way for angels to communicate with us. So maybe a number will show up on your clock, or you'll be seeing, especially multiple numbers, 1111, 222, whether you have multiple of the same number in a row is a very easy and regular way for angels to be able to say, "Oh, take note what's going on right now," either a confirmation to a question that you were asking, or just to be aware for a moment of what's going on here in the next 24 hours or the next 5 minutes, that you're on the right path and I'm helping direct you. And these angel numbers, there's been a lot of almost research, but people that have given messages tied to certain numbers. So
Mhm.
not necessarily the 111, but a whole bunch of different numbers. And so part of that weekly messages are, I'll just ask, take a breath. What's the first number that comes to your mind? And it always pops in, and then I can read, what's that message for today. It's just a way to get, personal. Sometimes they're, things that would be, advantageous to do. Sometimes they're affirmations that your angels are helping you in a certain area, but they're really almost always spot on with, where you're at and what that message that you receive. So I love being able to share the angels in with those messages in that way.
And one of the things that I love about how angels communicate is through scent.
Mhm.
And there's such a myriad of scents out there, and you'll notice angels. I notice a lot of flowers. Ylang-ylang is one of my flowers. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but it's a base of one of my favorite Chanel number 5. That's my favorite perfume. So I'll smell Chanel number 5 and go, "Oh," and I'm like, realize I didn't put any on today, and, "Oh, okay, an angel's around me." A lot of so if you notice you're smelling your favorite flower, and, we're heading into fall, and I'm in the Midwest, so not a whole lot of flowers anymore, other than fall flowers, but not a lot of that kind of scent, so that's more than likely an angel is around you, either trying to get your attention or you have asked for something and they're saying, "Yes, I am here and I am helping." So the other thing is, I have a client whose father in law passed away and they were super close and he smoked pipes. So whenever she's down, she calls on him and to comfort because he always did that in his living life and he smoked pipes. So whenever she's down and calls on him, she'll smell his pipe smoke. So she knows he's around and that gives her comfort and
Mhm.
that helps lift her spirit because he knows now, even though he's crossed over and no longer living, he's still with her. So
Yeah.
the other thing is, now I've not heard about these. Tell us about babies and pets. This is new to me.
It's fascinating because, they don't have a filter of, "Oh, I should or shouldn't see this, or I can or I can't see this." They can just sense those presences, and where, most kids and adults even, just are kind of not open to receiving that support. And so, I was working with a gal, and I was working over the phone with her, and her baby was there near her, and we were working on something for the mom, and I always call in, angelic support. So, like for physical things, I call in Archangel Raphael because he's God's healer. He's the divine physician, and so I always call in Archangel Raphael when I'm working with anybody, and we were doing some work and I said I was calling him in to help us. And she said, "My baby is just staring in this corner over here." We kind of tuned into that and it's like, oh, well, yeah, they can sense when the angels are around and know that there's something good going on. And so it just really just kind of kept her eyes focused on that area as we were working. And it was just such a beautiful affirmation that that support was truly there. But animals can do the same thing. They can sense those unseen presences. They can feel that support, and they literally will stare, knowing that there is that being and that presence there when we can't see it. So it's
You
just
know, before you go on to the next one, I just realized that one of my they're both in spirit now, but when my dog Kiyoshi was alive, he was mostly blind. But every now and then I would just see him lift his head, kind of cock his head, and just follow. Like he couldn't see him physically, but he'd follow with his eyes when an angel was present. I just connected that.
it's amazing. Anyway, tell us about music because I know we each have stuff about that, but I want you to share the music sign with us.
Oh, because, music is universal.
Yes.
Every culture has some form of music,
Mhm.
and I'll have clients pay attention to the radio if they're listening to the radio, or even if they're watching TV, a certain song will come on, or they'll be listening and catch a certain lyric that gives them information, gives them comfort that they needed to hear. And this is my experience. This is many, many, many moons ago. I was just going through a deep depression. I was severely unhappy with where my life was. This was way before I became a healer. And I prayed to the angels. I said, I need help. I need assistance. And I'm driving to work. I was in a job I didn't like. I am driving to work and I hear Simon and Garfunkel's song, I Am a Rock. And I'm like, oh, and it was the weirdest thing because the depression just, I felt it move from the top of my head to my toes as I'm driving, just dissolve.
Ah,
And I get
beautiful.
chill. I mean, I literally have chills now thinking
Me
about it
too.
because it was like everything brightened up. It's like all of a sudden the color came back into life. And I heard, you have no reason to be sad anymore. All of that's been healed. That's never happened again. But I had a whole new outlook on life. Nothing really changed outwardly in my life. My attitude towards my life had changed. And the angels helped facilitate that through the use of a song. So that's what
As
can
you're
happen.
talking, I just have to share real quick. We were at a wedding here just this summer, and my mom was asking for a song to be played, but the DJ never played it, and it was celebrate good times,
Yep.
and because the whole energy of the wedding and celebrating life, it just was so powerful for us and for her, and so she was a little disappointed that they didn't play the song, but the next day she got in her car, the radio came on, that was the first song that came on the radio. So, just that affirmation that the request was heard, just couldn't be played in
Mhm.
real time, but the angels were on it and helping her just feel the support
She had
of
asked.
that song. She'd asked. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, a couple more here real quick is, coins. Sometimes you find a coin on the ground. They are often the signs of that, it's associated with someone in heaven or an angel help, but oftentimes it's kind of someone in spirit. So, take a look if you come across that, take a look at a date because I know I this happens all the time when I'm thinking about my dad who had passed and I'll be thinking about him, and then a coin will, I'll come across a coin on the ground, and I'll pick it up, and you look at the date, and because it was deliberately placed in your path, and it is just a clear sign that you're loved and supported, and that date all the time for me, there's something special about that date with respect to my dad. And so it's just another way to know that we're still supported and our loved ones are still we can still think about them and feel the joy of knowing that they're there through these kind of signs.
And I love that our loved ones who are no longer with us can become our angels. How cool is that?
Mhm.
The other thing is, the other symbol, or is actually not actually a symbol, it's a change in pressure. And,
Mhm.
like, it can become cold, it can become hot, our ears can pop, and, you may feel like all lovey-dovey, warm energy around you, and it's never uncomfortable. And I'm gonna give you an example. When I was a manager at a major retail store, we had storms. It was violent, violent storms, and I heard that there was a tornado coming towards the mall that I worked in. And I'm like, oh gosh, there's really no good place to go to be safe from a tornado in my store. And so I sat down at my desk and called to the angels. I said, please keep us safe. That's all I said. Please keep
Yes.
us safe. And
Mhm.
then I felt a tremendous pressure, like a weight, but it was not uncomfortable. And it felt like I couldn't breathe for a minute, but it wasn't scary. It was there. And then I heard on the radio just like 5 minutes later, because I was paying attention, because I'm like, if we need to move, we need to move. The tornado that was in our path had changed direction and we were all safe.
Yes. Oh. Wow, and that shiver me up thing, it's that's some of those sensations because we
Mhm.
get I call them God bumps, when you just truly know and that peace, you just know that you are being held and supported and you're safe. You're safe. Ah, oh, man.
Yay.
Oh.
So, do you have an example of that in your healing angels?
Oh, yes. Well, I kinda talked about with this, the baby that was there, but, I'll often be working with somebody, and usually this kinda happens when I'm, on the phone with them or remotely working on them.
Mhm.
Again, I let them know that, their guardian angels are there with them. We call in our healing angels, and in the process of doing that, I'd say, more often than not, wherever the areas that we're working on, they can feel an angel presence. They can feel maybe it's holding their arms, being like you're being wrapped around with angel wings, or that just you feel just kind of a light touch or pressure around the area that we're working on, and it gives that beautiful clarity and validation
Mhm.
that they're helping, with a sensation that truly is noticeable. And so when you feel that presence, just like yours with that comfort of knowing that there was an angel there helping you,
Oh, yeah.
it's
It's like,
they probably believe that they are, and that they're answered prayers, answered questions, answered support, that they're right there. I mean, they are right there helping, and it's palpable. You can feel it. Whenever I go to the library, if there's something that I need to learn, it's literally a book will kind of like almost fall off the shelf,
"Yep,
and I don't necessarily have to buy it or get it, but it's like, okay, there's something you need to know in here, and I'll just like turn right to the page I need to know. I'll read what I need to read and put the book back up. But it's like they pushed it right off the shelf for me because there was something I
yep,
needed to learn.
that's happened to me too."
Isn't that just, you just gotta love it. You gotta love
So,
it.
what other signs? I think we have one more.
Yeah, last is just kind of signs and advertisements that you see as you're driving around that are on a billboard, on a car, or on the side of a wall, kind
Mhm.
of anything. Again, if you are toiling with some questions in your head, or there's something that you need some insight on, those will, if you're open to looking for those kind of signs, it's often the case that those words or a set of words or a set of numbers will show up in answer to that question, or that, yep, we're on it, we're helping you with this. There was I was driving along, and I was like, how am I going to solve this problem? um and literally on the back of this car it said, Jesus is here. It just anyway, that happens more often than not, but just know that those are great signs, and you get to be aware that you are being helped all the time.
Awesome. It, just amazes me how different and how varied the messages come if you're open and aware and willing
Mhm.
to see and willing to look and willing to have them come in the way they need to come in. I know we're running out of time, but you have a great angel firefighter story that I want our viewers to hear.